Hello and welcome. What can I help you with? Oh, hello Angela.
Hi, it's been quite a long time since I've been here, hasn't it?
Well, if you consider 16 days a long time, then yes.
Well, I guess it hasn't been that long. Anyways.
The usual. Am I right?
Yes.
It will be ready in a few minutes. If you can please wait.
Sure, thank you. Oh, sorry. Can I add the new pet treat to my order? I hope that doesn't bother you too much.
Not at all. For what pets?
There will be 1 cat and 2 Cycats.
Of course. I will remember that for next time. Welcome home, Angela.
Hi, Cycy. Pancakes? Primus? Pumpkin? Where are you guys? There you are. I brought you a treat.
Hello, Angela.
Hi, Silver. I hope they didn't give you too much trouble.
Nothing I can't handle. Although, we will soon need a new sleeping bag for Pancake. You know how he likes to yank at the seams.
Ugh, I knew I should have brought it. I saw a new model while shopping. He would have loved that.
No worries, Angela. If you remember what it was called, I can add it to the cart for this week's supplies.
Oh, sure, thank you.
Angela, you do know you have no need to go out shopping. We can just add the groceries to the cart.
Yes, I know. You're all much faster than me, but there's no fun in that. Here's how I see it. If I let you do all the things I could be doing, then what's the point in me being here?
Yes, I understand. It's a fair point. But you can still get sick, while we cannot.
Without a risk, there's no fun in anything. Besides, when I go out, I get to see new people. I find that worth risk-taking.
I understand.
Oh, Cycy, can you please put on the news?
Of course.
Ugh, they always talk about the same stuff now. Please just turn it off.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hey, Miss.
Primus. Hello.
Hello, guys. Start of the week, I know, but let's get through the stuff. Okay, I think everyone is here. Yep. So, we left off at 2020, right? Fun year. You all must know what happened then.
It's the year when Covid-19 started.
And all Black Lives Matter, right?
Yes, you're both correct. But there is a bit more to it than that. For now, let's talk about COVID-19, which some of you might know as coronavirus. Most of your parents should be from around that time, so they might have called it the old name. However, the right name is COVID-19, so we're going to call it that. Okay? Okay. So, as you should know, the first case of COVID-19 was reported back in November 17 in Wuhan City, China. People didn't think much of it at that time, but that meant it just spread really quickly.
Oh, miss, was this when people started buying toilet paper for no reason?
Yes, I guess that is another reason why this year is famous. With the threat of going into lockdown, people started panic buying, and for some reason, fighting for toilet paper. Well, following on, it wasn't long until this new virus was considered a pandemic. Countries were slow to act, and it was too late when cities went into lockdown. Thousands were dying, but there was still hope that once you got the virus, you wouldn't get it again. Vaccines were being tested, but it was the people who had been cured and were visiting the hospital time and time again that proved this virus was going to be a real problem. However, before realizing this, lockdowns across the globe were being eased, especially for those people who had had it already and they were cured. This resulted in an even greater second wave of infected, and hospitals were already having a hard time with the first wave. Imagine with the second one. Yes, but miss, what about the economy? If it had been stopped for so long, then it must have taken a big hit. That's why lockdowns are being eased in the first place, right? Yes, that is exactly what happened. With lockdown now being prolonged for an undefined time, it's honestly surprising we still have a working society. As you said, the economy was already taking a huge hit, and with everything stopped for a very long time, the situation evolved into a very deep recession. The crisis caused poverty and even starvation, and we still had to find a way to live with COVID-19, which took a lot of money. But it was the acceleration of trends that existed before the crisis that really affected us. And as some of you might know, when there is a crisis, many existing trends, no matter if good or bad, accelerate. An example of this is from the Great Depression 1929, which we studied 2 weeks ago. Some examples of the trends that were accelerated then are the change of the geoeconomic power from Europe to the USA, more mass production, and totalitarian political movements. To give a summary of these trends, the change of economic power. Before the crisis, the US was slowly beginning to overtake the UK, and with the aftermath of the crisis, while both countries were greatly affected, the US came on top. About mass production, during the early 20th century, we were already seeing the rise of this industrial transformation, and the crisis and World War II just helped it come faster. Finally, totalitarian movements. If it wasn't for the Great Depression, maybe people like Hitler and Mussolini wouldn't have gotten the social acceptance they needed initially in democratic societies.
Miss, what are the important trends that were accelerated in 2020? I don't see what it could have been.
Well, the one we'll be talking about, and the most important one, which you might not realize is actually affecting you, is, of course, the declining birth rate. Let me ask you all a question. Do any of you have siblings? You all might right now think that it's just in this class, it's just luck. But nowadays it's really rare for people to have 2 kids, let alone more. Going back to 2020, this was more recognizable in Japan, as people didn't get married or got pets instead of children. In Japan, it was mostly caused by lifestyle choices and the difficulty to find the right work and life balance. Very long work hours, high cost of living, and low earnings pushed many people to avoid having children. But also, there were some people who just didn't want to have kids. Their life was good enough. Why get a kid? These trends troubled the world, and many people took them, especially in the most developed economies in Europe and America. This type of thinking started growing mostly in Europe, but was growing across the world more and more. And when the crisis came, what was once only Japan became a normality across the globe. This was really what, for one part, helped humans, and for the other, decreased their number. Some people say that the decrease was caused by death, but it was rather caused by the luck of birth.
Miss, you say it was the decrease of our numbers what helped us survive, but there must be something else, right?
Yes, good point. If I tell you the truth, I am a bit biased in this, but from all that's happened, it's probably the rise of AI and robots that really helped us survive. I didn't go into it before, but we had to find a way to live with COVID-19. And it was all thanks to the masterminds behind robots you all probably have at home. You see, while people argued over the BLM, and which I will go over later, there were people programming and making robots. And this is actually another trend which was accelerated, the rise of the machines, as some may call it. These new machines range from cat robots and housemaids to AI that helped corporations, individuals, and public institutions to make the best decisions. If you think about it, an AI making decisions is the best thing that could happen. With AI, they can predict every possible outcome, and they're not driven by emotions or opinions. Their decisions are fair and only hope to help humanity without harming part of it. Of course, he doesn't make the decisions alone. There's still a global precedent, and the AI has to clearly explain his choices. And it paid off. The AI found the best way to tackle COVID-19, where everything is cleaned and you don't even need to wear a mask anymore. Not only that, while focusing on COVID-19, he also focused on the Earth as a whole and got us rid of climate change. For example, one of the changes this AI found to be the most useful was smaller apartments. With no less people and smaller apartments, there would be more land for flora and fauna. Back in 2020, there were already apartments of 30 meters squared, and now with the new technology, they became incredibly popular. Of course, there's still people who like to have the space, but it does cost more. Quite a lot more. Anyway, the planet is now stable, and as you know, we are having people stay in Mars for the first time. Soon we'll start working on a Dyson sphere, which will cover the sand with solar panels and get us almost unlimited energy.
Well, Miss, how did the BLM movement affect the decision made, and what happened because of it?
Well, the BLM movement, as I said, started back in 2020 with the death of George Floyd. He was suffocated by 2 white policemen, and they were charged with murder, at the start at least. This caused major riots. It didn't matter if they got COVID-19, they fought so justice could be served. But this wasn't just in America. In the UK, for example, there was a statue of a slave trader thrown into the sea. After 2 weeks, it seemed to have died off. But when the lockdown was eased, the riots came again and again. While they never called it a civil war or something like that, there were many casualties from both sides. The BLM movement gave momentum to pent-up anger and a need for equality and social justice. It ignited the conscience of a huge part of our society, and the government at some point had to concede to their demands and implement vast changes in education, hiring practices, social welfare, healthcare. But it wasn't until when the AI decisions were introduced that there seemed to be real change. In my opinion, we should be incredibly thankful for the robots and the masterminds behind them, because we might not be here if it wasn't for them. Well, I think that sums up what I had to say. I hope you understood most of it. Today is just a summary of what happened in the last 17 years. A lot of years. Next lesson we'll be going into more detail about the main events. I'm aware it was a lot to take in, but I hope you understood. Anyways, any questions?